last time I did a day in the life vlog, I started out by saying I was just planning on doing a typical day in the life vlog, and nothing went the way it was planned. And that's kind of the theme of March for us. I was planning on just doing a regular day in the life vlog, and nothing went the way it was planned. The way today was supposed to go was that I was supposed to take Sadie to a doctor's appointment at 7:45, and then we were just gonna kind of relax and hang out. We were gonna go over to my mom's house. We were gonna take it easy. We were gonna play with our cats. We weren't gonna do very much. I wasn't planning on sending her to school because she has had so many asthma attacks in the last 3 days that, and this is a new thing for her. We've suspected that Sadie has had asthma her entire life, but she has never had full-on asthma attacks where she can't breathe, where she can't talk. And so she's still really getting the hang of really getting her inhaler and being calm enough to handle it. And I wasn't quite confident enough today to send her to school, since we're like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is like the 4th day in, and also because we're getting the paperwork that her doctor would sign today so that she could have her inhaler in school. So just kind of getting everything squared away so that she can go back to school and be safe at school. That was kind of my plan for today, was that we were going to be taking it easy and getting everything ready for her to go back to school, hopefully tomorrow. Nothing. You can probably hear the kids out there, they're playing with toy guitars, in case you're wondering what that lovely music is. It's just not going to be quiet in the background today because I have 4 kids out there outside the door playing in the playroom, and usually I would have them play upstairs, but I don't want Sadie that far away from me today. It started out okay, and I will show some of the footage of our day, but then things just went wildly differently than I was imagining or planning, and we ended up going to the ER. We really ended up rushing to the ER, and it was scary. So this is how our day went down, and I guess we're just really lucky to be home now because Sadie came really close to being admitted, and we basically spent 4 hours going back and forth whether or not she was going to be admitted for a day until they got it under control, or whether or not we were going to be sent home with a nebulizer. So this is our day, and I'm going to talk a little bit more at the end about what happened and what's going on and where we're going from here. Good morning. Patrick and James have already left for school, and Sadie and I are up bright and early to take her to her doctor's appointment, where hopefully we'll be able to get these asthma attacks under control, or whatever these breathing things are. Of you by the fish when you were tiny. Do you remember?
No. I'm gonna go dry now.
Okay.
I'll leave this here.
What are you drawing?
The moon. But it's only like 8-something. 8:15. Not even months. Wait, I was positive I turned.
Stand here a while, take a little time. Since you went away,
I desperately need new jeans, so we're finally gonna do something about it because I have 2 pairs of jeans. One has paint on them and the other one has a really torn up knee, so here we are.
to a halt. Silence is everywhere, and you're not. And now I'm running like there's no tomorrow. My life was on a one-way track. This ain't a story about happy ending. Oh, I could set this world on fire. I could tear this town apart.
What?
I called this one because it's a special edition. I called this one and this one and this one and this. Hey! Don't any of you guys want the other special edition? Mom said I could only have one special edition. What about the yellow?
What's the gold one?
Different. I'm taking the pink. Sorry, I'm taking these for blue. I'm taking one. This is no so.
Who do you have, buddy?
This is.
Oh, it's so cute.
I hope I got twins.
I hope I get twins.
Hey guys, I learned a special trick for how you can like.
You guys, we still four twins.
Oh, Patrick, you got the Pegasus.
What does it say on here? Names.
Right.
What if I want?
Right there.
What if I want to break into it though?
I'm a special edition. Let me. Please say. Can you tell me which one this is? Because it's right here.
Can tell we ended up in the ER. I think it's kind of hard to tell how we ended up in the ER. Basically what happened was when we went to Walgreens, they didn't have one of our prescriptions ready, and that ended up being a real because when there was some confusion at our doctor's office over which pharmacy we went to, and one of the prescriptions got sent to the wrong pharmacy, and that ended up being a really good thing because one of our prescriptions was ready when we got to our pharmacy, but the other one, I can't remember what it's called, the once a day inhaler, wasn't ready when we got there, and I really didn't want to go all the way home without it. So it wouldn't have been a huge deal to go home without the prescription, but I kind of just wanted to have it right away and give it to her as soon as possible. So we sat around and waited for the half hour, not in the store. At that point, even though we'd gone to Panera for breakfast, at that point it was pretty close to lunchtime. So we went next door to Chick-fil-A and just got like a little snack there, not a whole meal. And we were sitting there eating, and she started to have an asthma attack. And so I gave her inhaler, and she took 2 puffs on it. She's used her inhaler probably about 2 hours ago, and now she's using it again. So she uses her inhaler, and I'm feeling just kind of nervous about the whole entire situation at this point. And because I realized that in all the questions that I asked the doctor, the one question that I didn't ask the doctor was, at what point do we like go back to urgent care, or go back to your office, or go back to the ER for a nebulizer treatment? At what point does it become urgent? How many times using her inhaler for a child does it become a situation where we need to go in and see someone? I was beginning to feel a little nervous, but I don't say that to Sadie. I just say, you know what, I forgot to ask the doctor something. I think I'm gonna call her when we go to the car. So let's go out, because she's just finishing eating. We walk out to the car, and so now it's been probably less than 5 minutes since she's used her inhaler, and we get in the car and she starts to have another asthma attack. She can't breathe. And so I get out of the car and I go around the side of the car and I hold her inhaler up to her mouth and I get her to take 2 puffs off of it. And she has a spacer and everything on her inhaler. It's in here with me now. She's right outside the door. It looks like this. Inhaler, spacer, mask, so that it's easier for her to use and get all of the medicine, or get more of the medicine. So now we're looking at, in 2 hours, she's had to use her rescue inhaler 3 times. And usually the 3 previous times she'd used it, and when she used it in the doctor's office, when she used it Sunday, when she used it Saturday, every time she used it, it was like within 10 seconds she was feeling better. She could breathe. Now when she uses it these 2 times, she's not really feeling better. She's still having a hard time breathing. And so I turn the car on and I start driving to the ER. And we go straight over there to the ER and we go straight inside. And it was really, really annoying because when we got to the door of the ER, there was a line of 6 people who were not there to be seen at the ER. They were 6 people that were guests, and everyone was arguing because I guess there could only be a certain amount of guests. They were only letting 2 people in at a time, and we were at the very back of the line. And I was just like, I held up the inhaler and was like, okay, and finally got us in. We still had to wait like behind 4 guests before we could go through the metal detector to get into the ER. But as soon as we got into the ER, as soon as we got to the first triage nurse, they sent us straight back to the pediatric ER, and we walked into the pediatric ER and they took us straight back to the second triage nurse, who listened to her breathe, took us straight to her room. A doctor came in right away, listened to her breathe, went back and forth about the possibility of doing another chest x-ray because it sounds a lot like pneumonia in her right lung, but they hadn't seen pneumonia on Saturday at the x-ray. So, okay, what they'd seen at her doctor's office was they saw what her x-ray had shown. It hadn't shown pneumonia, it had shown peribronchial cuffing, thickening inflammation of her lungs, basically. So that's what they could see on her x-ray. When they were listening to her again, she sounded really wheezy and scratchy and squeaky. They kept saying she sounded really, really squeaky. Wheezy, scratchy, squeaky were the words that were used to describe her lungs a lot today. After a couple of doctors listened to her lungs, they ordered a nebulizer treatment. And they ordered basically like a triple nebulizer treatment with 3 different medications that was supposed to break everything up in her lungs and make it so that she could breathe. And so that part was tough. The nebulizer treatment was really the toughest part because she was just obviously not feeling good during it. It made her heart race. But more than that, you could just tell that she, especially during the first medicine, I'm not sure, I can't remember what it was, she just seemed to feel pretty miserable and was holding my hand and looked like she was about to cry for the first half of it. And then she kind of relaxed, and the second and third medications weren't as bad, other than the fact that you could literally feel her. I could feel her hands shaking, and I could feel her heart just pounding nonstop. Her pulse was like 140 something. Finally that finished, and they came in and listened and said that it was a lot better, but it still sounded pretty scratchy and squeaky in her lungs, but a major improvement from when she had come in. So they wanted to wait for 2 hours to see if it was going to get worse again. And in the middle, after about an hour and a half, she started having these horrible coughing fits where she'd just cough and cough and cough and cough nonstop. And you could tell everyone was really worried at that point that we were staying. And about every half hour they would come in and talk to me about the possibility that she was going to have a high score on the evaluation and they were going to admit her to get it under control. And that if she had a low score, then they were going to send her home, possibly with a nebulizer. And then we would try to control it at home. If she had to use it more than twice in 4 hours, we needed to come straight back in. So at the end of 2 hours, they came in and listened to her, said it was still pretty scratchy, brought the respiratory therapist back in to listen, and she came in and scored it and sent it back to the attending doctor who looked at it and came back in. And after we'd been there about 4 hours altogether, they listened to her so many times and had her get up and walk and listen to her again. They finally decided that she was good to go home, that it was still scratchy and her right lung still didn't sound super good, but that she should be okay if she went home and took it easy. And we had the nebulizer with the nebulizer medication, and we have an emergency plan, and she sees her doctor soon, and she's on like Prednisone, she's on allergy medication, she has her nebulizer, she has her inhaler, she has her once a day inhaler. Hopefully with all of this here, there's so many bags of stuff. Albuterol, I'm not even sure. Cetrazine, the allergy tablets, the Zyrtec tablets, generic Zyrtec. Hopefully between all of this, we can get it under control. They aren't sure if it's allergies or her being a little bit sick. She's not like super sick. She hasn't had a fever or anything. She just has a cough and a tiny bit of stuffiness, not really a lot of stuffiness even. But it has been an intense 4 days. It seriously does feel like it's always something right now after the last, I have to say, I mean, we've suspected that she has had asthma basically her whole life. She's wheezed, we've heard her wheezing and have brought it up at so many doctor's appointments, and everyone always just kind of said it's probably allergies. So it's not like this is a surprise. Paul has asthma. I have really mild asthma. So this isn't like super shocking to us because I've probably asked at 30 different doctor's appointments over the course of her life whether or not the doctor thinks she has asthma, and said that I think she has asthma, only to kind of have it brushed off. So it's not super shocking, but I guess I just always thought that it was going to stay super mild, and I'm surprised by the intensity of the last few days because mine is really mild. I've never seen Paul have anything that was like scary enough to go to the doctor or the hospital, so the intensity of this is all really new for me, I guess. And yeah, I better go because it sounds like the kids are taking apart the playroom out there, and it's just been a long day already. I gotta figure out, I want to look at the nebulizer. I know they explained to me how to use it, but least it comes with a little book that it does have an instruction guide. That's a plus. Anyways, that is it for today. I'm kind of intimidated by all the stuff around me right now. Anyways, now for real, that's it for today. If you like this video, we'd love it if you'd hit that like button. And if you're interested in all things autism, we would love it if you'd hit subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.